Erica Anderson is live in Morehead City, where this is coming ashore right now. We talked to her a little bit earlier. Erica, I don't know if you can hear me now, but let's head out to you and see what you're seeing at this moment. Are you with us? That's not a good face.
I'm here, Jeff. I'm on the waterfront.
It's my understanding, do we have...
We do. We have crews up and down the coast tonight, keeping an eye on the current conditions. Right now, we want to go to 9 on your sides. Andrew Ruiz along Atlantic Beach. Andrew, I know things are getting pretty rough out there. Tell us what's going on.
It's getting pretty rough out here. Still trying to stick my feet into the ground here and hold on tight.
And Angela Green, I know we do have more live reports coming our way. Earlier today, as we've been sharing with our viewers, tornado possibly in Duplin County. I know you've got information now from our team in Duplin County investigating.
We do. As we've been saying, 9 on your side has a crew in Duplin County. That's where our first alert meteorologists all day have been telling you. We've been telling you tornado touchdown. We have reports at Bryce's Store Road on Earl Davis Road, also US 117 on Rosemary Road. That's where Duplin County Sheriff tells us a mom and child were inside at the home. They both got out okay. But the house was heavily damaged. NC Emergency Management reports 4 total structures damaged. They were working to confirm more details. In the meantime, our Josh Birch has been on the scene there in Duplin County. He's joining us now live by phone. Josh, can you hear me?
Well, I actually just left the scene.
All right, good evening to you. I'm Jeff Varner. You're watching 9 on your side. We also want to welcome people from CW who's watching. It is the top of the hour, 10 o'clock. We're going to get to work to keep you updated as this storm continues to track through eastern North Carolina. As you've been listening to David for the last bit here, there have been a lot of developments that have taken place here. The governor has wrapped up a news conference about 45 minutes ago, encouraging people to stay inside until all of the damage can be assessed. He said quite a bit. Here's a little bit of what he had to say.
In the morning, we will not know how much serious damage we have until daylight.
This is 9 on your side at 5.
Hurricane Arthur barreling toward the North Carolina coastline. The wind is definitely picking up. This is video from Wrightsville Beach a little earlier today as that storm approached. It is expected to possibly reach a Category 2 status to welcome in our July 4th weekend. Good afternoon. Thanks so much for inviting us in tonight. I'm Jeff Varner.
And I'm Angela Green. Hurricane Arthur now right off of the North Carolina coast.
Let's get right to it. First Alert Weather Team Chief Meteorologist David Sawyer. What's the latest, sir?
We've got everyone, of course, working very, very diligently for all of our viewers across the board. Jeff and Angela, we are still expecting a Category 2 hurricane to hit our coast later on tonight. Here is First Alert Live Viper. You can see the eye, what we call eye wall right in through here, rotating around and around the center of circulation. What we call also feeder bands, or the squalls of heavy rain and very gusty winds. You know those winds you just saw on the video from Wrightsville Beach? That's now moving into the southern sections of the 9 on your side viewing area. Heavy showers and even some thunderstorms now still impacting areas south of US 70. We zoom in first into Duplin, Lenoir and Jones counties to show these storms now in and around Kenansville, southward in into around the Kenansville over to Beulahville area. These storms are making their way off to the west at about 30 miles per hour. Also some heavier downpours now just around the Deep Run area over toward Pink Hill. Also central and southern and northern sections of Lenoir County into northern Jones County. From Trenton to Maysville, you can see how very heavy rain happening right now. Very likely winds are gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour with these very, very intense squalls through Jones County, also into eastern sections of the Onslow County communities. And as we look on toward the western portions of western Carteret County around Emerald Isle, this is a very, very intense squall right now. Coming up, we're going to have some live looks as well as all of the reports to keep you updated. But for the meantime, we are expecting Arthur to become a Category 2 storm. Here is the very latest from the National Hurricane Center. Just coming into the forecast center, you can see a well-defined eye with our satellite. Winds are at 90 miles per hour, making this a very strong Category 1 hurricane. It will still expect, with the pressure continuing to fall, that means an intensifying storm. We expect it to become a Category 2 hurricane before the evening is through, and the official forecast track has the system moving off toward the northeast, and as it does, it'll be skirting our coast between Cape Lookout and Cape Hatteras as a Category 2 hurricane. That means winds over 100 miles per hour possible before the night is through. Deeper inland, we're still going to have impacts with very gusty winds and very heavy rain at times. As you can see from our live I-9 camera off the coastline, it is a very intense afternoon, dangerous surf conditions. No one should be in the water right now as you're looking live from the Seahawk Inn in Villas. Look at that angry ocean, Jeff and Angela. A lot more to tell you about Arthur as we proceed through this newscast.
All right, David, thank you very much. Not on your side, absolutely with you throughout this storm with our team coverage.
Yeah, we have several crews along the Crystal Coast and out on the Outer Banks.
Our Andrew Ruiz is keeping a close eye out in Carteret County. Our Brandon Goldner is on the Outer Banks in Kill Devil Hills.
We'll get to Brandon in just a moment, but first, let's go now to our Andrew Ruiz. He is live in Atlantic Beach where the surf is starting to kick up. Andrew, we saw those waves. It looks like they're picking up, getting pretty choppy behind you there.
Yeah, absolutely, Angela. Around here, you can definitely see the waves picking up. And the astonishing thing is that there are still people in the water. Let's just take a zoom out there. You can see that there are people braving the surf, going in there. The surf is really tough. I was talking to officials earlier today, and they do not want you getting in the water by all means. They are taking the precautions necessary in order to make sure that people are safe here on the beach. There is also a curfew in effect tonight, and that curfew starts at 11 o'clock for most municipalities. At Emerald Isle at 10 o'clock. We did speak to some people that were out here earlier trying to brave it. Here's what they had to say.
I see a lot of people getting on the edge and not going as deep, but that's a lot with the signs too.
Yeah, it's picking up. Waves are getting pretty high. It's real choppy.
At the EOC, they were definitely trying to emphasize that you should stay inside. Again, those mandatory curfews are at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock in Emerald Isle. They want you to make sure that you're obeying that. And that, of course, was because there was no mandatory evacuation here for Carteret County. Angela, Jeff, back to you.
All right, Andrew, thank you very much. Let's move up north now with our Brandon Goldner. He's live with what's happening at the Outer Banks there, where we are expected to feel the brunt of Hurricane Arthur. Brandon.
Well, Jeff, David mentioned how they don't want people in the water. You can see we have some people in the water. We have actually little children that are out in the water right now. And what we found when we were out here on the beach, there are two types of people out here. Those that are taking these warnings and are heading out away from the Outer Banks, and those are those people that are still staying here and are still trying to weather out the storm. For those leaving, many of them are trying to squeeze in as many activities as they can. One of those activities is mini golf. Over at Professor Hacker's Mini Golf, employee Morgan Rainwater says this morning's been one of the busiest mornings in a while, with lines out the door.
I think people are trying to beat the storm. I think the few people that I've spoken to have been trying to get out of here around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then all trying to be able to be out of this area before the storm comes.
And coming up at 6, I'll tell you what that other group of people is doing, those people who are weathering the storm, how they're preparing for what could be a wet and windy night. For now, we are live in Kill Devil Hills. Brandon Goldner, 9 on your side.
Okay, thank you, Brandon. Governor Pat McCrory addressing North Carolinians today, once again urging them to be safe during this hurricane.
Let's hope for the best. Let's pray for the best, that Arthur clears out quickly so we can all get back to celebrating our country's independence with our families and friends on North Carolina's beautiful beaches, all the way from the South Carolina border up to the Virginia border. I've mentioned this before to citizens, don't put your stupid hat on, but I also want to talk.
And of course, the governor issued a state of emergency yesterday for 25 coastal and adjoining counties. Along with the emergency declaration, the first named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season, forcing a mandatory evacuation for residents and visitors on Hatteras Island, and a voluntary evacuation is in effect on Ocracoke Island. With the sun shining this morning, some on the Outer Banks say it's hard for them to leave.
We're going to ride it out, probably sleep through most of it since it's supposed to be coming in late, but maybe I'll sneak a peek through the window and see what's going on outside.
Now, there is some good news for those deciding to ride out the storm. Arthur is expected to clear out by lunchtime tomorrow, but remember, following the hurricane is one of the most dangerous times to be in the ocean. That's when rip currents are the worst.
All emergency agencies are up and running, a mix of state and local groups ready to help where help is needed. Task Force 10, which is part of the State Emergency Management, is now in Plymouth. It's made up of fire rescue crews from New Bern and Greenville. They'll be able to help with any medical needs there. The State Department of Transportation also moved equipment and crews to the coast. They are staged at Buxton, Kitty Hawk, Ocracoke, and Pea Island. There are more crews standing by, ready to go if necessary. The Bonner Bridge and all its trouble will not be neglected. DOT says crews will inspect that one once the storm passes. The National Guard is on standby at the ready. Soldiers and airmen prepared to jump into action the second they're needed. They've been working with the State Department of Emergency Management to get ready for that. Duke Energy also bracing for power outages. It's moving more than 500 line and management workers to the area. The second power goes out, those crews are on it to get it back up and running. They're ready to go in the event of any outage that may come there. We certainly are going to stay on top of this storm all night and all morning for you as it makes landfall. Let's take another quick look live at Kill Devil Hills. We have crews along the Outer Banks and the Crystal Coast. We'll be checking in with them throughout this newscast and this evening as the situation calls for.
And as your First Alert weather team mentioned and shared with you in our first forecast, we're expecting Arthur still to become a Category 2 storm. Team coverage from the 9 on Your Side First Alert Weather Center right after the break.